Hi everyone, happy Thanksgiving, and if not, just happy day, right? I reached out to my network and I asked some friends to see if there's anything that they wanted to hear me talk about specifically. And a dear friend got back to me and she said, I'd love for you to discuss how to get back to working out and how that's changed, i.e., more yoga, Pilates, and meditation. So it's been an interesting journey post breast cancer, returning to working out, and it's been an interesting journey. So prior to my breast cancer diagnosis, huge gym rat every day. If not every day, I'd be outside running. So pretty much working out Monday through Monday, 5 a.m., hardcore before the gym. I would do CrossFit. I did CrossFit for several years, and before that, I was just a gym rat again. Sometimes two-a-days plus a workout class. So definitely overtraining. And then right before, like the years leading up to the diagnosis, I was doing programming that was done by my phenomenal coach, Francesca Emanuel, which I mentioned in my book, who does primarily trains people through bodybuilding competitions or just people who really want to hone in and focus on very specific things. And she's incredible and amazing. And I actually continued her training through chemotherapy, through everything. And it's only been recently that I decided to take a pause there. And how that all transpired was after the treatments were finished, I continued for a bit because, right, I finished radiation December 10th last year. So I'm coming up on a year. It wasn't until about a few months ago. I was just like, I just need a minute. So I didn't work from January to June. I took a nice sabbatical from working to recalibrate, to figure out where I needed to be and where I needed to find alignment, because a lot of things I had just been doing because that's what I've done, right? I chose certain jobs and certain paths of working because it was what I just did and I was fantastic at it, and I didn't question its effects on my mind, body, and soul. So I really took time to break, rest, recalibrate, and question everything. So a few months ago, I really was, doing my weekly check-ins, doing the photos, doing, sticking to the routine, the food, like the macros, and doing all of the programming. And I really started to notice that I wasn't joyful in it. Up until this point, everything had been joyful, right? Even during chemotherapy, the fact that I could get under a bar and move weight, no matter if it was, no matter that it wasn't the normal 200 pounds and it was much less, it still gave me joy, strength, and hope. But what I was starting to find was I couldn't put a name on it. It wasn't quite burnout because I was still going, I still loving it, I'm still seeing gains and feeling amazing. But it was just something that just wasn't clicking anymore. And I said, you know what? I think that I need to make a change, right? So I really just like sat with myself and I said, okay, well, what are my goals? And I had noticed that I had slight imbalance in my core due to what I believe is due to the radiation. They radiated like this whole side of my chest wall. So I became very guarded on this side rotationally, and even like the muscle, I guess, atrophy started happening, and I could just really notice. So what I did was a friend had opened up, well, she had a yoga studio and she incorporated a reformer studio into it. And I said, you know what, let me just go try this because I need to actually re-engage my core again. I was doing things at home, but I needed to be like in a class setting and to like be intentional and not be about the go of the workout. I needed to be in a place where I was actually physically engaged and like healing, right? Going in and fixing like this oblique muscle and really like Can I feel it? Can I move it? Oh, there it is. Like, even right now, I'm able to engage it where I wasn't able to do that a few months ago, like scar tissue and just, being like super guarded, for the last 2 years. So I went, and needless to say, I fell in love. I have like a very addictive personality in the sense of I'm all in or I'm not in at all. So there's no like half with me. But I did tell myself 2 times a week, maybe three at most, right? Like I wasn't gonna do what I had previously done, where I would find something and dive into it and do it 24/7. For me, the Pilates, the reformer Pilates specific at this time, I'm diving into mat and learning all those things as well. Is complementary to the weightlifting at the gym and the cardio at the gym. And it's just been extremely instrumental. So typically I'll do my gym Monday through Friday, and sometimes Saturday, Sunday, just depending on when, and I'll get to that. And then reformer is usually just on the weekends, because work sometimes during the week. It creates pressure for me to leave my office at a certain time to get there by a certain time. So I've learned that if I can mitigate unnecessary stress and pressure, why not, right? Like it completely is besides the point to rush out of your office at a certain point in time and stress to get to a place that is supposed to be restorative and relaxing. So I just don't participate in that for myself. So if I think that I can make it work out and it'll be peaceful, I'll schedule it during the week. If I can't and it's going to stress me out, I just save it for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I fell in love with that. In addition to, it's amazing. I fell in love with yoga. It's interesting. During the abuse, actually, I had stopped doing the yoga because when I was in the room, and if you know me, I've done yoga like forever. I actually stopped because the panic, I couldn't sit with myself and I couldn't sit with what was going on, and I felt trapped in the room. Even though I knew I could leave, just being there, I felt trapped. So I actually haven't practiced any yoga in a while, and it's only recently where I actually got to teach yoga, lead class at my company retreat, which was amazing and just really powerful and lovely. I recently started going back because I was like, I need to stretch, I need to rotate, I need to like feel myself again. So I started incorporating that, and I go to the studio sometimes I just do it in my house. And really what's changed for me, getting to the point, the crux of her question, I'm just more slower and more intentional. And ironically, my gains are more, my inflammation is much less, and there's other reasons for that, but staying on task, my inflammation is much less, my recovery is faster, my sleep is much better. And I think it's because I'm listening to my body now, where before I just was like, being, a Marine drill sergeant to myself, 5 a.m., if you don't get up, you're a bum, go, 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 go. And while that did serve its purpose earlier in my life, and it's 100% I'm disciplined, there's nothing that I can't do, there's nothing that I won't do if I say I'm going to do it. But I just realized this new season that I'm now in, I need to really just be and lean into my feminine energy. I don't need to have that masculine go, 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 go. So in the morning, I set my alarm. Before it'd be like 4 a.m., 4:30 at the gym by 5. Now I'm much more lenient with myself, with the exception if I do need to be to the office early to provide support, then, I'm in the go, go, go because I have to go. But what's changed for me is now I listen to my body. If I wake up and I'm like, I could go, but I need a little more sleep, I choose sleep. And then I get up and I go and I modify what I'm doing that day. So I still don't create the pressure on myself, right? Because there's a difference if I wake up and I get to the gym by 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I want to give myself 90 minutes versus if I choose to sleep an extra 30 minutes, that eats into that time. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So I have to level with myself and say, okay, well, you did that because that's what you needed. So now you're only going to do back, or you're only going to do shoulders, or you're only going to do this, and you're going to save cardio for another day, right? Or, some days I'll go back at night and I'll just say, I don't bring anything with me. I'm like, you're going to go in, you're going to go right to the Stairmaster, you're going to go right to the arc, you're going to go right to the treadmill, and you're going to do that, and then you're going to leave. I don't allow myself to, you know, fall in any, rabbit holes of overtraining and over exercising, because also when we do those things, it can create stress in the body, and it can have the counter effect of what we want. So I want to make sure that my system is calm, that I'm pushing, that I'm growing, and that I'm training with specificity, right? And you can see that when you start to see your body change, like, you're training with specificity. So that's what I strive to do. So I still go to the gym almost every day, pretty much almost every day. Like I said, if I wake up and I need to sleep, I sleep. And I train legs. On one day, I'll do glutes and quads. And then I'll do buys and shoulders, or back and shoulders. And then I'll go and I'll do, hamstrings and, other, hyperextensions. So I do keep that separate. But then I do incorporate minimum 2 reformer Pilates classes a week. And, sometimes there's one, sorry, I'm getting a hot flash. Sometimes I'll incorporate a third, which is like a strengthening, like decompression class, which is great because it's a lot of stretching and holding versus, more movement. And then also tapping back into my meditation. Prior to working, I meditated a lot more. Now I think that, like, work is a distraction in the sense that, it's an added thing that I didn't have for 5 months. So it's like refiguring out, making time for myself, and not letting boundaries of work and anything, right, stop me from doing things that really ground me and make things calm and, pour into myself. So, I want to go back to her question to make sure that, I really do feel like I've answered it. How to get back to working out and how that's changed. So if you're in a place where you don't know how to start, I think start small. Think about, like, what do you love to do? Do you love to walk? Do you love to run? Are you a class person? And then once you have those answers, then take it a step deeper, like, what will make you happy, right? And then try a bunch of different things. Like, I'm not a fan of ClassPass because I think it hurts businesses. But in the beginning of something where you're just trying to try different things, maybe try it for a month, or actually reach out to different companies or, businesses and say, hey, I'm a recent cancer survivor and I would love to see if you have any, like, packages where I can come and try a few different things. So most places have where you can get 3 for the price of 1 or 2. And just try different things, right? Like, try a reformer's class, try a reformer Pilates class, try a mat class, try a yoga class, try a spin class. And then as you start to try and find, without pressure on yourself, you will discover what you like best and what speaks to you, right? And remember that can always change, and it's allowed to change. You don't have to always do something just because you've always done it. And, and it's best and great and even better for your body and body composition to change things. So how do you start? You start by deciding that you're ready and that you want to do something to change, right? So like I said, whether that's walking, running, going to a gym, boutique fitness, classes, figure out what makes sense for you and then commit to yourself to going. Don't schedule it after work if, like, you don't have a work schedule that affords you to be able to log off at a very exact time and get there in your leisure. Because what we don't want to do is create this, like, crazy stress and rush to get somewhere. So, start on a weekend, start on a Friday, and then slowly start to incorporate it into your schedule. And it doesn't always have to be the same thing. For me, the gym and the Pilates studio work. Maybe for you, it's a soul cycle class, or it's a community yoga place in your hometown, right? It doesn't have to be what mine is. And also, it can also be, maybe it's you and your iPad in your house. You can have phenomenal workouts that way. You also don't have to spend money and go somewhere. So I think the way to start is you just have to start. and if you have questions or, want to reach out, hit me up on the DMs and, on Instagram, and, I'll help you figure it out, right? And then how it's changed is I listen to my body much more. If I'm tired, I sleep. And when I walk into the gym, even if I had planned where, before it was very regimented. Monday was leg day. Tuesday, was another leg day. Then Wednesday was rest. Now I walk in and I go, what does my body want to work out today? And then that's what I do. And I make sure I still hit everything that I need to hit, but it's not in this regimented, way. I don't need that anymore. I probably never needed it. But especially not in this season. So how it's changed for me is I'm much more relaxed. I'm much more softer about it. Much more in my feminine energy. I'm not, trying to push. I'm not focused on the number on the bar, right? The old expired self would be climbing, and that's probably also a CrossFit thing, just climbing, how much more can I add to the bar? How much more can I back squat? And I can't tell you what my back squat is now, because I don't know. I don't care, right? Like, I'm lifting for an entirely different reason. I'm lifting because I can. I'm lifting because I'm strong. I'm lifting because I'm alive. I'm lifting to be strong. But strong in the sense of just what I need strong, not overly strong. That may not make sense to anyone or most people, or maybe it does. I'm lifting for myself. So I want everything to be functional. I don't want to have anything extra that I don't necessarily need that's not functional, right? I want to be able to run. I want to be able to, do the Pilates and the yoga. So I'm being very mindful now of what I'm developing and how it's developing. So I would say the biggest change is mind-body connection now, and truly listening and not going over and above and beyond, and trusting myself and my body, and giving myself, what it needs and what I need, and doing repair work on, the body that's been so incredible to me through multiple surgeries, through chemotherapy, through radiation, through, just the stress of all of that, of managing all of that, the stress of, the abuse and the attack in the past, all of that trauma, I'm now giving back to the body that allowed me to stand there through it all, and repairing her, making sure that she's strong from the inside out, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, all of those things. So for me, everything more than ever is just super intentional. And again, I am 100% flowing and floating in my feminine energy. And whenever I feel like I'm not, I close my eyes and I reconnect to that. I think I've spoken in other videos where I just really think there's an energetic imbalance in a lot of places and situations, and that can potentially contribute to some things, such as, densities in our bodies that may turn into cancers. I may lose some people on that, and that's okay. Like, I can believe what I want to believe, and you can have the right to not, believe in that. But I do believe that everything is energetic. So I do believe that in the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and there should be a balance. And whenever there's an imbalance on either side, it's not good. So I'm really enjoying my soft life, so to speak, and just flowing and listening to my body. And I hope you do too. And again, if you have any questions or have any subject matter that you would like me to specifically speak on, shoot me a DM. If you're a friend, you obviously know how to contact me. Otherwise, reach out to me through my website. You can even drop some in the comments here, and I will talk to you guys soon.